guys, I'm Carolyn and welcome back to my RV life. It's Saturday and I'm doing this video today to talk about a couple of things. I'm gonna do an update on Nomads in Need, and that is the little program that I set up in order to help nomads who might be struggling during the whole coronavirus thing. I'm gonna update you on that along with some other stuff around that, so stay tuned for that. But first I wanted to talk about, a viewer wrote to me and asked me about displaced nomads. So what's happening to all the displaced nomads? The state parks are closing, national parks are closing, or at least the campgrounds are closing. So a lot of the state and government controlled campgrounds are closing, and not everybody boondocks like I do. So a lot of people are wondering, where are they going to go? What are they going to do? And I'm going to talk about that. And you'll see I'm in a campground right now and it's full. Actually, there's some empty spaces, but there's plenty of people here. It is not closed. So I wanted to start this video here in a campground to show that while some state parks and stuff might be closing down, there are alternatives. And I'm going to talk to you about where you can go if you had reservations for a state park, or you usually camp in state parks or public run campgrounds. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? I'm going to share with you some ideas about how, as a full-time RVer or nomad, you can find places to stay even during the coronavirus close downs and quarantines. Okay, so stay tuned. I have a lot to cover.
There ain't nobody gonna do it for you. Got to find your own.
Okay, so first of all, I think we need to kind of clarify a few things here about the closures that we're seeing in the states that are shutting down campgrounds and state parks. So yeah, some states, a lot of states, I don't know how many, I haven't done the research, but several states are shutting down state parks. They're shutting down the campgrounds of regional parks, state parks, and national parks. And yeah, some nomads, full-time RVers live in those parks. And so there is a little bit of a concern about where they're going to go. The emails that people have been writing to me saying, well, what do you think about this? And at first I was like, I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. It's just more hype. It's just more panic. And I got pages and pages of links, and, you know, I looked at a few headlines, and like everything else, we need to make a living here, and I'm definitely not going to fault anyone for using something that is a challenge in their, or creating drama, if you want to call it, in their headlines of their videos. I mean, it's not. It's just like, this is real. It's real stuff. But what happens is, for those of you sitting at home, for those of you who are on the road, maybe your state park isn't closed yet, and you're seeing 20 people do videos freaking out about not having anywhere to go. And then you've got the trolls who are just waiting to pounce on us, right? The trolls who are just waiting to say, see, I told you that life isn't good, and now you're mooching and you're begging, and oh my God, you know, I mean, jeez. And they really are. There are so many people who are sitting at home who watch us religiously. They watch all of us religiously, but they're waiting for us to fail because it's going to make them feel better about not taking action in their own lives. But so yeah, there has been a lot of hype on YouTube about the closures, and, you know, hype might be a strong word. It's a reality. State parks are getting closed and nomads are getting displaced. Some nomads, not all nomads. Many of us boondock. And so far it has not been an issue. So let's clarify that. State parks, national forest campgrounds are closing. I did a little research, looked that up. Regional park campgrounds are closing. National park campgrounds are closing. What I have seen so far, and my understanding, the research that I have done, is that the reason they are closing parks is because those parks need to be maintained and managed. They need to be cleaned. They need people to collect fees. They need people to babysit, basically. Because remember a couple years ago when we had the longest government shutdown in the history of the United States, and that included like state parks, or state parks and national parks shutting down. I remember Joshua Tree was just ransacked. People literally shit all over it and treated it like crap. So unfortunately, as Americans, we need babysitters, and that's why when the states and the governments don't want to put employees at danger, they have to close them down, because we can't have nice things. And So yeah, that's my understanding. I saw something else about that the other day, a really good article about closing down. One of the things is that as soon as quarantines and shelter-in-place orders started happening, they were, the reservations were through the roof. People were like, okay, well, I'm going to escape to a park and, an RV park or a state park. And that's not keeping social distancing. So I think that might be another reason they closed, just because I don't know how many campgrounds you've been to, but sometimes the campsites aren't even 6 feet apart. So yeah, there are closing of these campgrounds, and yes, that does mean that some nomads are going to be displaced. And if you're gonna be displaced, hang on, I'm gonna give you some tips. But let me clarify something. Yes, formal campgrounds in national forests are getting closed down in some places, maybe not all places. I just had a conversation, argument, because I lose my patience sometimes. I have to deal with a lot of different stuff. Anyway, Florida, what was it? Florida National Forest campgrounds were closed down. Again, they probably need to be maintained. They probably have bathrooms and things like that that need to be maintained. And that's another thing, you know, all the people using the bathrooms, they're just afraid that it might get spread. I have not seen yet a single incidence of a whole entire national forest or BLM region closed down. Let me repeat, national forests and BLM lands are not shut down. That means dispersed camping or boondocking is still open. So unfortunately, I was thinking about this, just go boondock. If you stay in an RV park, what's the big deal? Just go boondock or a campground. But not everybody is set up to boondock, right? Not everybody can live without power. They're not set up for solar. Maybe they don't even, you know, they're not set up even for living off grid like I am. It's not a big deal to me, you know, I mean, and everybody around me, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. Boondockers, I'm telling you, we've got it made. Oh, and let me talk about one other thing. I think I may have misspoken, or maybe I just wasn't even thinking about my own behavior during this. I hadn't thought it through. I have changed my behavior. I'm, you know, going in town as infrequently as possible. Actually, no, that's not true. I'm actually having to go into town more to get the supplies that I need, because when I go in, they're not there. And, you know, so that means like, okay, well, Albertsons is going to have toilet paper at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. So, you know, that means I have to go back in again. So there are certain things I've not been able to get on one trip. So I have to go in again. I'm washing my hands a lot. But the biggest change I'm making is I'm not traveling. I am not moving every 2 weeks like I normally do, or every 10 days. And so dispersed camping in public lands, national forests, and BLM lands is allowed. That means you can basically almost go anywhere. You're going to want to check with the National Forest office and the local BLM office where you're at to get the lay of the land, find out what exactly the rules are. I know a lot of the offices are open remotely now, so you might want to call or go online rather than go into the office. They're probably not there. But just, you know, or download the motor vehicle use map it's called an MVM, motor vehicle use map. You can pretty much download them now, I think, from every national forest, and that'll show you what the legal camping camping spaces or camping areas are, what the legal roads are, how far within a road you need to camp, and all the rules and regulations. I have a feeling, though, that even that during this, the rangers might be not as fully staffed as they normally are. I also think that they're not going to be enforcing the 2-week rule. So, I'm not worried about sitting here for as long as I need to sit here until things get better. I am in a state that's on lockdown, that is shelter in place, only going out for essential activities and things like that. And, I think no matter where you are, if there's a national forest that says, maybe even in Florida, I remember some of the national forests were like, you can only stay here 4 days. I have a feeling they might be more lenient about that now. Don't take my word for it. Call ahead to find out. But so just because the campgrounds are closed doesn't mean you're SOL and you're kicked to the curb. There are options. And one of the options is the free public lands. And I've done so many videos on how to find great campsites on public lands. I'll put a link to it up here so you can watch that and get all the information, but I am going to cover a couple things in this video. So, dispersed camping just means that you can basically pull off anywhere that's allowed within a national forest or a BLM land, and you can camp usually up to 14 days. Sometimes they're as little as 4. Double check online or with the regional office to find out for sure. Private RV parks, like I showed you in the intro to this video. I don't know that private RV parks are shutting down. That's like shutting down an apartment building. This is an essential service. People live in RV parks. So while you're probably going to have to pay more money, and that's going to be unfortunate for somebody on a budget, I think most private RV parks are still open. If I'm wrong, let me know, but I haven't heard of any private RV parks closing, especially long-term RV parks. Actually, I just saw a resource recently. If I can find that resource again, I'm going to put links to a whole bunch of resources for you in the description of this video. So check there for a lot of the things that I'm talking about. But I think I think in the fan club, I think Carol posted a resource from RV people that showed alternate camping options like RV parks in every state. So if I can find that, I'll put that in the description for you. But like I said, I'm not aware of private RV parks closing, especially long-term ones. I mean, they can't. People live there. What are they going to do? Kick them out? I suppose they could close them to new people. They could do that. So call around. I mean, if you're in Florida and you've been displaced because the state parks are closed, or the national parks are closed and you've got no place to camp, call the private RV parks. Look into dispersed camping on the public lands. Like I said, I really doubt that they're going to be strictly enforcing the rules. They know about us. They know that we're out here. And the numbers I've heard is as many as 1 million of us out here. We have to go somewhere. I mean, I think they'd rather have us in the national forest than on the city streets. So my favorite resource for finding free camping spots, usually in public lands, is freecampsites.net. That's freecampsites.net. And if you use the freecampsites.net on a regular basis, I hope that you will consider making a donation. They have a donation button on their website. They put a lot of work into that website. It's a really valuable. Most of us use it. It costs money to keep that up and running, not to mention all the time and effort they put into it. So if you are using it, go ahead and make a donation to them. To support the website. So yeah, so don't panic. There's plenty of options. There are plenty of options. There is a ton. I mean, where I'm parked right now, it's a little more crowded than usual, but not a lot. I have enough privacy. I've been with friends, but I'm looking out over hundreds of acres of open land. So no, we're not going to get, people have this idea that, you know, public lands are going to turn into RV parks, or, you know, that we're going to be, you know, squeezed up together like this. Sure, the popular spots, yeah, they do that, but get creative. Watch my video about how to find your own spots away from the crowds. Okay? So there's plenty of room on public lands. Plenty of room on public lands. I hope, though, that you won't go out here and start dumping your tanks. Oh, when we talk about that, I've not seen... I have my local place here where I always go dump my tanks and get water. It's an RV park. So if you are struggling to find a place to dump your tanks because the state park that you usually go to or whatever is closed, so look into Santa Dumps. I think it's an app or a website. They'll give you dump stations. A lot of times, like city parks and stuff like that will have them. Gas stations will have them. But if you're in a situation where you absolutely positively can't find one and there's an RV park in your area that says guests only, I'm sure you can call them and work something out. There's always an RV park. Always an RV park. So if you are new to public lands and you're going out to use public lands, please respect the land. Leave no trace. That means, you know, if you're going to use it as your bathroom, bury it. Don't bury your toilet paper. Don't leave your garbage. Don't dump your black tank. Don't dump your 40-gallon gray tank. BLM says you can dump your gray water, but I think that's like dishwater. Please don't dump your 40-gallon tank. We all have to live out here, and we don't want to start seeing this get shut down. If this gets shut down, yeah, then we're screwed. Then we're screwed. So please respect the land. So the other thing is if public lands aren't an option for you right now for whatever reason, I'm going to give you some other ideas about where you can camp if you've been displaced by all the closures from coronavirus. Stealth camping. Stealth camping is still an option and probably easier than ever. And here's why. One of my favorite places to stealth camp if I'm in a city is a warehouse district, an empty warehouse parking lot. And for someone like me who likes to be alone, likes to be able to open my door and go outside and walk around, a warehouse district is perfect. And if I'm in a new city and I don't know where the warehouse district is, what I'll normally do is just Google warehouse space for lease. And that serves two purposes. It tells me where the warehouse is, because residential, like they don't always list the address, but a warehouse they will. So they'll give you the address of the warehouse space that's for lease, and you can drive out there. And number one, you find the warehouse district. Number two, you know that it's empty. So you do need to be careful depending on where you're at. I did that my first year on the road, and there was security even though the warehouse was empty, and I did get a knock on the door and told to leave. So, you know, and yes, it is private property, but here's how I look at it. You know, it's a, what is it called? A victimless crime. I'm just parked there. And especially now, you don't have anywhere else to go. You need to be away from people. You know, sure, I guess some cop or security guard, you know, doing their job might tell you to move. If you want, you can even maybe try to call the owner ahead of time and just say, hey, this is my situation. But warehouse districts are excellent. And especially right now, a lot of places are closed down. Medical offices, well, no, medical offices probably right now wouldn't be a good idea. I don't know. I guess it depends on the medical office. I don't know. Medical offices, just areas in a town that are full of medical offices, I've been able to park there too, sometimes with some success, you know, like just one night. But if I were you and I were looking for a place to stealth camp, I'd be looking for an empty warehouse right now. Hospitals. A lot of people say hospitals are good, especially right now. Again, especially if you're older, if you're an at-risk person and you need a place to stay and you parked in a hospital parking lot and you know, security came along and said, you can't park here. And you were like, you know what? My health isn't that good. I don't have anywhere to go. I might need a hospital visit. I would hope that they would understand and let you stay. Schools. I think schools right now might be a really good place to park, especially universities, community colleges. I like community colleges because you can sometimes get free Wi-Fi in their parking lot. And I bet this time with what's going on now, the problem with university or community college parking lots sometimes during school session is the campus security. So I've actually literally sat outside the gates and watched campus security go home. And then I went and parked in the parking lot. But that shouldn't, I'm imagining campus security probably wouldn't even be there right now. So schools and universities are another good place to stealth camp. And then there's your usual spots. There's the Cracker Barrels, there's the Walmarts, and I don't know, all the other places truck stops, rest areas that you can always find places to camp. My favorite resource for spots like that but they're only one night. That's the thing though. They're only one night. But if you're, you shouldn't be moving around. But if you have to, and I bet a lot of these places, especially now, you can get away with more than one night. But my resource for that is overnightrvparking.com. Overnightrvparking.com. I think it's $24.99 a year. I think they may have raised their prices. But it's a great resource for places that you can camp for one night, like the Cracker Barrels. And sometimes, users write places that you wouldn't normally think of that they might also be on there. A couple other resources I want to talk about that might be helpful. Harvesthosts.com. I think it's harvesthosts.com. Harvest Hosts. I'll put the link in the description. Harvest Hosts is a website that matches RVers with people, farmers, fruit stands, things like people who need labor, that kind of labor, and they're willing to give you a place to camp in exchange for that labor. So Harvest Hosts might also be a good thing to check out if you're willing to work for your board. room and board for your room. Sometimes it comes with board, but Harvest Host. The other one is Boondockers Welcome, and Boondockers Welcome matches you, the RVer, with someone who has land that they will allow you to stay on. And Boondockers Welcome, there is a fee to that. Last time I checked, it was like 24, maybe 30 bucks for the year. And they match you, though, with people who usually have free places. So if you're doing the mooch docking thing, which I hate that word, but, you know, because again, it just raises flags that we're beggars. But, sometimes people just need a little helping hand. But Boondockers Welcome I stayed at one lady's house in Tennessee or Mississippi or somewhere super nice. She had a big piece of property and just gave me a place to park for the night. And so it's boondockerswelcome.com. Again, there is a fee to join, but if you are desperate for a place to stay, that could be a really good resource. Again, I think this time of year, people are going to be more lenient on the limits as to how long you can stay. So that would be a really good one to check out. And finally, I started a Facebook group. I'm taking this whole nomads in need thing kind of to the next level. And I started a Facebook group, and it's set at private right now. We'll see how it goes as people join. But my thought behind Nomads in Need is this. I have people, a lot of volunteers writing to me saying, you know, offering phone support, offering delivery support, offering financial support, offering, you know, people can park in my driveway or park on my land. And, I have the spreadsheet. I have it all there, but I thought, why not create a Facebook group where people who have something to offer the nomad community can post what they have to offer, and people who have a need can go post their need or look for what people are offering, and so people can kind of meet up that way. What do you think? So I'm going to put a link in the description. Facebook, Nomads in Need. If you have a need, go there, post what you need. If you are willing to volunteer, go ahead and join as well. And it's going to mean scrolling through the list to see what people need and what people have to offer. But whether you're a volunteer or a person in need, join. Post what you have to offer or what you need, and then I'm going to leave it up. Then it's going to be up to you guys to make the connection. I thought Facebook would be a really good way to do it because it kind of gives some legitimacy. You kind of know who the person is on the other side. It is a private group, so for now, I'm going to be moderating it. Any volunteers? If anybody wants to volunteer to moderate this group, the last thing I need is another job, but I'm going to do it for now. Hopefully we'll find somebody else to moderate it. And right now, I will vet people who come into the club and make sure that they are real people. And, you know, that's it. Just make sure you're real. I'll figure it out as I go, like I do everything. Okay. So does that make you feel better about the whole being displaced because campgrounds are closed? Does that make sense? So it's not the end of the world. The sky isn't falling. We're not all going to be kicked to the curb. We're not going to be flooding. Oh, heaven forbid, NIMBY. We've got the NIMBY thing going on. Not in my backyard. Heaven forbid we should come into your town. I understand people don't want people traveling state to state, and I definitely don't do that. The information that I'm giving is so that people can find the resources they need where they are. I don't think anybody at this point is going to be traveling from New York to Florida for a free camping in a national forest. I don't think anybody is going to be doing that, but maybe you are. Don't. Don't travel right now. And I don't think I even understood this in the very beginning when I was talking about it, but you know, if I don't want to carry COVID from one state to the next state or one city to the next city. So I'm staying put. I recommend everybody else, as much as you can, stay in one area, one city, one state. Okay. I hope that helped. Does that clear things up? Does that make you feel a little less freaked out about everything? Does that give you some options if you're a full-time RVer? Or if you're someone who has been thinking about becoming a full-time RVer and thought, you know, with this kind of trial run of a national crisis, it kind of like made you think, oh my God, no way, no way. See, I'm safer in my home. Did this help make you feel a little better about maybe being out here? I have said, how many times, raise of hand, show your hands. How many times have you heard me say that the #1 trait of a successful full-time RVer is what? Can I hear you? Flexibility, right? We need to be flexible. We need to be able to think on our feet. We need to be able to improvise, and we need to be able to just say, okay, you know what? I need to sleep at a gas station or a rest area tonight. Oh, well, not where I wanted to end up, but that's the reality, and I'll live. I'll live and I'll figure out my next step tomorrow. So, again, if you are watching all of us go through this from home and you have been planning about living in an RV and this is just freaking you out beyond belief, then you might need to rethink whether or not this lifestyle is for you. And I'm going to put a link to my video up here. If you haven't seen that video already, I think it's like 10 signs that RV living is not for you. There's 2 of them. And then 10 signs that RV living is right for you. And I think they piggyback off each other. So I'm going to put a link to that up here. Maybe I'll put a link to them both also in the description. And if you're home freaking out about this, you might want to check out those videos because there's going to be some good information in there. Okay, finally. That was a lot. That was a lot, wasn't it? Finally, I'm going to give you an update on Nomads in Need, just because you're probably curious. So, so far, we have helped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It feels like a lot more than that. So far we have helped 5 people. I've made 1 successful connection. Oh, there's 2, in process that we're waiting to complete. So we've helped 5 people so far. I've made only 1 volunteer match so far, and that's happening on Monday with a grocery delivery in San Jose. Thank you so much. I want to thank all the volunteers. And so far, we have given away $150 in groceries. Actually, that'll be $220 in groceries, groceries and gas money for the volunteer and other stuff. So volunteers who need gas money, I'm also paying for their gas money. So that'll be $220 that we have given out so far in groceries and other assistance. So yay, yay! I'm so happy that we've been able to do this. And so my Reno, I've said in the last video that I needed help in Reno, and I've had 2 people reach out. Thank you so much, but I've not heard from the person. I've emailed him 3 times, and he's kind of MIA at this point. I think I need help in Spring, Texas. I still need someone who, if you can deliver groceries to Spring, Texas, and then Otis, Colorado. So Otis, Colorado and Spring, Texas. Oh, yeah. And Spring, Texas are the 2 that I still need right now. So I'm going to transfer this whole thing. If you have a need, if you're a nomad who needs assistance, you need supplies, you need somebody to pick up meds for you, you need somebody to pick up groceries for you, or you need help paying for groceries, you can either email me at CarolynsRVLIFE@gmail.com, put need, city, state in the subject line, and I will see what I can do to help you. And then volunteers. This is crazy. I have 77 volunteers. 77 from almost every state. We're missing a few states, I think. I don't think we have anybody in Alabama. We don't have anybody in Mississippi. Yeah, there's a few states missing, but almost every state. So 77 volunteers in many states, and Canada. I've got 2 volunteers in Canada now. So if you want to volunteer, go ahead and email me, volunteer in the subject line, city, state, and at CarolynsRVLIFE@gmail.com, or both need and volunteer. If you want, you can just start using the Facebook group Nomads in Need. And I'm really excited to see what happens there with that. So really exciting. I'm really happy that we have been able to help a few people. That's really awesome. So thank you all the volunteers. I had a few donations that helped toward the groceries, so that was really helpful. Thank you so much. Vancouver, Washington, a place to stay if you want to do a little work. parking in Rapid City, South Dakota. Yeah, parking if you need a place to park. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, I have a lot of volunteers. Thank you all so much for your volunteering. I'm really glad that we have been able to help people. I hope this video helped some of you feel better about the closures that are happening. And remember, don't travel. Go into town, get you what you need as infrequently as possible. Wash your hands as much as you can. Go to the CDC or the World Health Organization websites for the best up-to-date information. You know, symptoms, I've been looking, I don't know, just the information that's out there is so scattered. It contradicts it. It's just, it's insane. But don't panic. Panic causes bad things. Just panic. You can't think straight when you panic. So there's no reason to panic. Just do what you need to do to take care of yourself. Trust yourself. Trust that you're going to be able to take care of yourself no matter what, because you can. And I believe you can. And, you know, and if you can, help out and reach out and help another human being. Okay, so I hope you found that helpful. Thank you all so much for reaching out. If you have had a need or if you've been a volunteer, it's just been a pleasure to be able to connect people and to maybe spread a little cheer during this really difficult time. So thank you so much for being here. I will see you soon. In the meantime, be happy, be free, and be kind. I'll see you soon.